There is a moment when self-respect stops being something you practice and becomes the ground you stand on. Not something you reach for, not something you negotiate, something that lives in your body before a single word is spoken. It doesn't arrive loudly. It doesn't ask to be recognized. It doesn't wait for permission. It settles into you. And from that moment on, you move differently. At first, self-respect looks external. Boundaries, standards, learning to say no without explaining yourself. But then, it deepens. Self-respect becomes discernment. And that is where power stabilizes. Because discernment is not hesitation. It is clarity without urgency. It is the moment you no longer rush to be understood, liked, or chosen. You know who you are, so you let people reveal who they are. When you live from this place, you stop confusing attention with intention. You stop mistaking attraction for access. You stop internalizing other people's projections as information about your worth. Your energy sharpens. You don't harden, you refine. Because discernment is not rejection, it is perception. Some people approach you with patience, with depth, with the willingness to meet you where you actually stand. Others approach with assumption. They assume warmth means invitation. They assume openness means availability. They assume presence means permission. And here is where your power shows. You don't explain. You don't correct. You don't overfunction to be seen accurately. You notice. Because most people do not meet you. They meet a moment of you. They read one page of your life and decide they know the entire story. They meet you when you were tired, when you were broken, when you were surviving, when you were healing quietly, and they freeze you there. They build an identity for you based on a version of you that no longer exists. And here is the truth that returns your power instantly. Their interpretation does not define you. People who judge quickly are rarely anchored internally. They look outward because looking inward would require one more responsibility. They follow the flock because standing alone with their own truth would demand courage. That judgment was never about you. It was about avoidance. Radiant ones, hear this clearly. Warmth is not weakness. Ease is not availability. Aliveness is not an invitation. Being yourself is not something you need to justify. You are allowed to exist fully, without being reduced, interpreted, or consumed. This level of self-respect does not argue with projection. It does not chase clarity from people invested in misunderstanding you. It does not carry shame that was never yours to hold. It stays intact. And from that integrity, something powerful happens. Your nervous system settles. Your energy becomes decisive. Your heart remains open, but protected by knowing. You can engage and observe. You can participate without leaking yourself. You can be present without abandoning your center. This is embodied authority. Self-respect says, I know my value. Discernment says, I choose what has access to me. And that difference changes how you are approached. Not because you repel people, but because you filter reality. Those capable of depth slow down. They listen. They meet you where you are. Those operating from ego, fantasy, or entitlement fall away. Often offended, often loud, often convinced you changed. You didn't. You stabilized. This is not superiority. It is coherence. And this matters now. This season is not about hardening. It is not about bitterness. It is not about closing your heart. It is about no longer letting other people's projections touch your sense of self. It is about refusing to bleed because someone else refused to look inward. It is about remaining soft inside while becoming unshakable at your core. You are not here to be available to every gaze. You are not here to be understood by people who refuse depth. You're not here to shrink because someone judged a chapter they didn't live. You are here to be whole. And wholeness naturally has boundaries. Not all attention deserves your energy. Not all interest deserves your time. Not all judgments deserve space in your body. Self-respect teaches you your worth. Discernment teaches you where to place it. You don't disappear to protect yourself. You don't harden to be powerful. You stand where you are, fully yourself. And from that place, nothing anyone projects gets to decide who you are ever again.